Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, November the 24th, 6:32 p.m. Thank you so much for your support. We are live here today. We're going to be discussing a lot of topics. The ones that we're discussing today, Luis Otávio, that's his name, close to signing. This is a rumor that came from our good friend Khalil Dornelis from Bandeirantes. We released it, we reported it, and then Tom Bogert kind of gave his blessing. Also, Cesar Luis Merlo um, came and said that pretty much it's a done deal. 3.5 million is what it. Very similar to the amount that was paid for Cesar under 22 initiative. So we'll discuss all of that about Luis Otávio. We have a video as well of some of his best plays. We'll play that in a little bit. The squad depth, what's needed in which places, and what kind of signings are Orlando going to do this year? This season coming up. The MLS playoff race, a lot of surprises, a lot of Cincinnati. I think the whole league is surprised about Cincinnati's performance. We'll discuss that and all of that today. And also questions from the chat. So we're going to be answering all your questions. So make sure you drop your thumbs up, drop your comments. I'm here with John Rollins today. And before I go in and give the mic to John, I do want to thank the last month we reached 1,700 subs. We are 300 subs away from getting to 2K. Just in the last month, you guys have killed it. Over 32 new subscribers to our channel. So thank you so much for your support. And with that, John, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you again, and have a good pot today.
Good, man. Yeah. Off season rolls on. I wouldn't really expect much news. I think really till the end of the year, like we might get some signings like this one that makes sense, but I think a lot of the business might get done in January. So, let's see what happens. But I'm excited by Luis Otávio, and we're gonna talk about him. And then we'll do a bit of squad depth. We're gonna talk about, the team down south. I guess we should discuss the fact that they won a playoff game.
Well, I mean, I just think that I'm just surprised about Cincinnati and what happened after the fact. But we'll dive in just a
Cincinnati
moment.
just crumbled, bro. It's crazy. I'm so mad at them.
Yeah, I mean, even Evander, like we said, hey, we want Evander in our team. I'm like, after that performance, I don't want Evander in my team because
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I've been like one of Evander's biggest, supporters, and he let us down. Oh, I think all the since he let us down there. So
yeah.
someone has gotta go out there and take down Lionel Messi and gang. And I was hoping it would be them, and they have failed. But there's other teams out there that could still, slay the dragon. So let's hope.
100%, 100%. So thank you to everybody that's joining. Make sure you drop us your thumbs up, and we're gonna go ahead and read some comments real quick here. It says, "Stream Jesus. Respectfully, who is this Luis guy? Too many lazy Luises. We're getting mid Brazilian players." Well, we'll discuss in just a second.
Luis, no, come on. There's plenty of Luises. We have even more. Lots of Luises. Luis and Luises. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, you just gotta know how Orlando is going to sign throughout since they came into the MLS, especially since this new administration with the Wolves. I think the fans, there are fans that know. I mean, truly how this team signs their players, and he fits the mold exactly what they're looking for. Young player, no name recognizable player with a lot of upside. They call him a gem over there in Brazil. They call him that he's like a gem of that academy. So we're getting their Alex Freeman, from my understanding. So I mean, that's how they pitched it to us. So Again, we see a lot of youth players and underrated players excel under Pareja, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I think it's a good signing to me. I don't know if I would have paid 3 million, but it's. I mean, nowadays for a player that has been in the under 20s, I think that's kind of like the price, 2 to 3. So we're okay. Oracle C says Oracle 0711 says Happy Turkey Days, Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Chacha Sly, what's up, guys? How you doing, my friend? Stream Jesus, no offense, Luis Pineda. I'm strictly talking about the other lazy Luis. So you call? Oh, so,
I forget. I just always talk about him as Muriel.
you're
So
calling Luis Muriel. Oh, okay.
that one, yeah,
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
yeah. Enough of that, Luis.
Congrats on the 1.7K. Thank you, my friend. Kenneth Allen, good evening, fellas. Good evening. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for joining. So let's talk about Luis Otávio. Let's first watch a video. I have a video here of his highlights, and then we can kind of discuss kind of how he plays. I'm gonna mute it because I don't know if the music has copyright, but we can probably play a little bit of it. So a little heavy metal right there. So he's really good at recovering the ball. Look at that. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, what I like about him is, well, a few things. You're not worth that much money at 18 unless you aren't like pretty good. Like there's something about you at that age to be worth, estimated 2.5 million, in that range, whether it's dollars or euros. We're potentially playing 3.5 million according to CL Merlot on this one. So I think for an 18-year-old, that much money, you have to be pretty good. You have to be very technical. You can't be a really raw 18-year-old. But if you look at the way I think he's got a lot of good assets in three places. You got to look at their mental attributes. You got to look at their, physical attributes, and you got to look at their technical attributes. And he has some of all three of those at his age, which is kind of rare. Physically, I mean, he's a very large player for his age, and he uses that to his advantage. You're going to see that in some clips here to win the ball back. And also just the way he moves, I think, he's very quick on the ball, quick to turn. He's not afraid to use his body to, make a challenge or a slide or whatever. And then also when he's on the ball, you can see in this clip here, he's got pretty good feet. He gets his head up, which I like in a defensive midfielder. You can see, he's able to have that kind of time on the ball that you need as a defensive midfielder, similar to like Atuesta, where he's able to get his head up and pick out a pass, slow down the game, speed up the game, do those things. For an 18-year-old, it's very impressive to see those things happening at that age. So that's also a great part. And then, I think mentally, right, you could just tell that he's been able to play this many games. He's also playing for a club that's really not been very good. And he's like been one of the shining stars this season for this team, even though they're like really bad. And I think that it kind of shows like that kind of personality and great his young age to be able to get into the team, maintain a position in the team, and be one of the better players, despite all of the older players like having a bad season. Really shows some maturity. So I think there's a lot of good positives about him, and I think he fits our game plan. Like we said here, Orlando City is what we do. We go out and get these young South Americans. We did it with Cesar around, he wasn't this young. I think he was only like 21 when we got him. But it was like maybe a similar kind of price. And then we should have really sold Cesar on for more money. We just had a bad situation there where we didn't renew his contract, and now we let him go for free. And we got to go out and find the next Cesar. And this guy, I think, is a great idea because he can definitely go from being worth 3.5 million now to come calling for 15, 20 million, and we've made our money. So this is how it happens. This is the process of Orlando City. And I I think the younger, the better. I know that sounds like a really horrible thing to say. But when it comes to these soccer players, if you're going out and getting one who's 18 years old, who's first team ready, he's going to be worth way more when you sell him on. Instead, you go out and get a guy who's 25, he might never really develop enough to be first team ready. So there's less risk with an 18-year-old and also more to gain in their overall potential. So I'm excited. I feel like Ricardo's cooking. I think it's going to be a great signing.
Yeah, it screams or an Orlando City signing. I mean, if you know how Orlando signs their players, this is literally out of the Ricardo Moreira playbook and Luis Musi playbook. This is a player that has a high upside. It's a lot of media in Brazil are saying that he's probably the gem of that academy for Internacional, which is like kind of like the stepchild of like kind of like the ugly brother of Gremio, in 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 Porto Alegre, right? So honestly, from my understanding and for what I've seen, and he's played also international competitions. This year, he's had over 1,150 minutes with the senior team. So he's literally been playing with the A team the whole entire time. 3 yellow cards, 1 red card. He's not afraid to get stuck in. He plays a true six, so he's a pivot six, so kind of um, like a six, straight six defensive. Really good at retaining possession, recovering the ball, and also switching gears. So he's super fast, going into the attack and then going to back and defend. He excels under pressure, and he's a guy that if he loses the ball, is going to go to the other end of the pitch to get it. He's a player that's considered to have a really strong mind, very level-headed kid for his age. Um, Definitely, to me, it screams a huge upgrade in size, in technical ability, because Cesar was a great six, but physically, sometimes he was not up to par. And also, he had great, phenomenal games, especially with Wilder when he was healthy. But I feel like this particular guy, Otavio, he could play on his own right there at the six, and he can have 2 interior midfielders, one on the left and on the right, kind of like a way kind of similar to what Cincinnati plays or what how Seattle Sanders play.
He
You know,
could do that
Paulo
Wilder,
Lawson.
like Wilder could do that too, be
Right.
that lone
Yeah.
six. Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of huge upside with this kid tactically. He's really good at taking direction tactically. So like his coach of International had a huge praise per sources. He's spoken to Oscar Pareja's squad already about him, saying that this is a kid that's very responsible, is the first one to get to training, the last one to leave. He is always willing to improve, and he said I have no doubt he's going to help you for 1 or 2 seasons. But I don't see him in the United States for more than 1 or 2 seasons. So um I like the signing. It screams Orlando City to me, dude. It's perfect. I like that he's able to kind of be more attack minded, but also defend very well. A lot of the ball recoveries. We lost the ball so much this year, John. It was insane the amount of times we lost the ball. There were times that we were losing the ball 13 times a game, guys. And I think with this kid's motivated. He wants to do great. Apparently, he's been learning the language already.
Cool.
So he's been learning English. So, I think he's a very level-headed kid, man.
Otavio or Otavio?
Otavio.
Otavio. I'm just gonna call him Otavio. I think it's cool. I like the Brazilians who they just have one name. I don't think we don't need this 5 name. He's just Otavio. He's not Luis because that's confusing. We don't need that. He's just Otavio. I also want to say that I think we're gonna get a good deal at 3.5 million because he potentially could be worth more than that. But Internazionale are in like record amounts of debt. They have like serious financial problems. So they're basically, they don't really have much of a, you know, what's the word? Like they don't have much financial like transfer power, like negotiating power at the moment, because like if I'm Ricardo and I go into that situation, he's gonna have done his research on the club. He's gonna know their situation. He's gonna be like, yeah, like we'll offer you this, and then they're gonna be like, oh, we want more, and he's gonna say, no, I'm gonna give you this, and they're gonna be in more of a desperate situation to say we're gonna take that money because they need money. I think it's something like the total debt has reached a record of 835 million reals. So yeah, they got real financial problems. So hopefully we're gonna get a good deal on him, which I think at the reported 3.5 mil would be a pretty good deal, and be able to sell it like in the future. We'd be able to sell him for a lot more. And I think, of course, Internacional are going to keep that sell on like retention clause, whether that's going to be, you know, 30% of the future, you know, profit made on him or something like that. So their idea is that, okay, we sell a bit, take a little bit less now, but we're going to sell a player that in the future will again help them get out of that debt and financial situation. They got a real bad problem there. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
A lot of pundits in Brazil are saying essentially that he is probably, they feel that he's has a higher ceiling than Cesar because of his size and the way he goes into the attack and also defends pretty well. He's literally had the most numbers in tackles, recoveries for that team. So they have a lot of high praise. Also, they said his distribution when International will go into transition, he's spot on. Like he barely misses. And I saw this on a Brazilian on X. I forgot the name of it, but I have here a chart right here. So this right here is his percentage. Like I know people really like numbers here. I personally don't look at this too much, but because I mean he could tear his ACL and then this is over. But this is really good numbers. You know, long pass 71% this season with Internacional so far. Accuracy, short pass 91.27. Wins 44% of all balls. He wins 6.1 tackles a game. He has 8.6 defensive actions. You know, like his successful dribbles. Look, when did you see Cesar dribble? Like 85.7% of success. And then I don't know. This is like NPXG per shot. I don't know if you can want to translate that right there. Oh, Ben Griff's right there. MPXG right there on the blue. So overall, I mean, this is why they're signing him. Now I have Cesar's here as well. If we can compare them. Look at Cesar right here. So there's a very similar numbers, but his distribution rate, and look how many aerial balls he wins, only 34%, right in the lower percentile. Expected assists, like really low. He has a high ceiling
I
here.
mean, physically, he's way further forward than
Right.
Cesar. Cesar
Way
is like
further forward.
not particularly fast, not, and he didn't really jump that high. Didn't really he didn't really have any physical attributes that made him stand out a lot in that way. So, yeah, I think definitely even at 18, this kid's going to be physically more impressive than Cesar.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, I mean, and this is for people that really love numbers. That think, you know, that's fantastic. You guys rock. You probably do your taxes very well. I really praise you for that. I do think this is a higher upside signing than Cesar. I think.
No, yeah, I think definitely he has I mean, at 18, he's almost as good as Cesar, so potentially could be as good as Cesar even at this
Exactly.
age when we bring him in. They're bringing him in to be a starter. Like, I think people who think this is like an OCB or a, future signing, no way. We're not spending 3.5 million and using a U22 slot on this guy for him to come and be a bench player. He's expected to come in and be a starting player, I believe. Probably next to Wilder is my guess. Is Oscar's going to go, real nice double pivot again, but with two guys who are like really solid, and then you can have your wing backs really bomb on and have that protection in front of your back line. I would guess that's what we're going to see, or maybe him and Atuesta, but I think Wilder's probably going to be a starting guy again. And like I said, I don't think you're signing him to be a bench player or a rotation or a maybe. Like, this is not a Nico Rodriguez situation. This is we're signing a, wonder kid in some ways. Like, he could be in that category. There's not a lot of defensive midfielders out there that I think have the height and potential that this guy does. I was looking, I'm trying to find like comparable defensive mids in MLS currently, and AI spat some back at me, such as like Obed Vargas, which I thought that was a pretty good one to kind of compare him to what he could be in this league. If you look at the level that Obed Vargas has been producing, Owen Wolf, Jack McGlynn, Johnny Shore at New York City, Brooklyn Reigns at Houston Dynamo, Steven Jimenez at DC United apparently is coming through. So there are some examples of like very young defensive mids doing well in this league, and I think this could be another one. Like I said, we signed Cesar at 21, so this is younger, but that doesn't mean that he's not first team ready.
Look, again, we can now be talking about, this. I think he's a stud. Just by looking at everything he's accomplished this year with Internacional, but again, we can really also hype up ourselves too much either, because then the crash is harder, right? And knowing my peeps, uh knowing my peeps here, my Orlando City peeps, they probably won't like, if God forbid something happens and he's not performing, the 82 percentile of accurate passes that he did last year. People are gonna be calling out for his head. And I think you have to understand, this is a kid. This is a kid that's coming also to a different country. I have no doubt that he has a supporting system in Orlando, probably better than any other MLS team, that's going to help him thrive. I think that's one of the good things about Oscar's system, and also how Moreira and also Musi used to sign these players are to succeed. Look at Facu, look at Martin, look at Cesar, even Wilder when he came in. So they have a way with this type of players that are low cost, high upside. They know how to handle these players on an everyday basis. So I have no doubt that he's going to excel. Now, again, we could sit here and analyze that he had a 90% passing accuracy, but then if in his first game, he tackles somebody wrong, gets a red card, people are going to freak out. And so, I wouldn't look at numbers too much at this moment. I think we can certainly look at numbers further down the road. When he's on the pitch, when we see him on the practice games that Orlando's probably going to have before the season starts. But nonetheless, I mean, this is a top level signing I want for Orlando City. Personally, I'm speaking on a personal level. I don't know if other people were expecting something else, but I like this signing, John. I mean, overall, I think it's a good
Hey
move.
man, I'm always down for signing, 18-year-olds who can be really good. As long as he can produce at a high level and we feel like he's MLS ready, then yeah, it's a win-win. Like I said, right? The sell-on value is only a gain for us.
Yeah, definitely. So we have some comments here. David says, "Evening, fellas. It's reported 20% sell with a 3.5 million fee. I've also broke down a lot of the numbers on a post I had. If anyone is into that stuff, there you go. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Stream Jesus, I just hope these type of signings win us a cup one day. Yeah, there's a possibility. There's a big possibility, hopefully. Spicy Gnocchi, thank you for reposting the stream. They really want to pitch it to us Americans without rock metal, brother. There you go. Good evening to Kenneth. But yeah, exciting signing nonetheless. Sad for Cesar. There's rumors about Cesar becoming part of the negotiation so he can join Internacional instead of, you know,
that's not bad if they get him on a free and we get money because then they get a player and he goes to Brazil, which he wants to go.
I think that'd be great.
That could actually work in a weird way because we're going to lose him for nothing. So if we throw him in and sweeten the pot,
yeah, for
that's
sure.
kind of genius if that works out. This was his last few games. Just some ratings here. I mean, obviously, like the team has not been doing very well. He was injured not that long ago, back in October for a few games, but he'll obviously be going into preseason and be able to do the full preseason. So I think it's good that he's going to have that rest and have time and be ready to go. We're not signing him mid-season, so I feel like he would definitely have enough time to settle in and understand. And we know here with Brazilians and how Orlando is a place of Brazil, and of course, I'm sure when he was a kid, he probably watched Kaká come here and maybe heard about that and knows Orlando because of Kaká. So another Brazilian here. Hopefully, he just is able to adjust really quick. So yeah, but I want to say this is not official yet, but based on the fact that it's being reported by guys in the past out of South America, like CL Merlo, and of course by Tom Bogert, that in history has shown us that when these guys report on these things happening, it ends up always happening. So it's a pretty much like 90%ish, gonna be there. They're working out the details situation. So I think that's great, and it gives him a long time to settle in and be ready for a new season. And yeah, exciting stuff. I think he's the kind of player that, like we said, we go for, but maybe this one is actually, on another level to what we've kind of been doing in South America so far.
100%. Now, you ready to talk about some depth?
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Let's talk about some depth.
Make this.
If you want to make it a little bigger.
Yeah.
There you go.
All righty. We'll kind of scroll across as we go. Let me know if you feel like I've missed anybody here. But I just want to kind of go through positional by position and kind of see what we've got at the moment, what we feel like we're missing. Right now, all the guys on the screen under the depth chart are only there once. So this is not like a positional depth where we can see. It's just to kind of give you a full representation. Hey, if this guy's injured, well, then he's not playing there, et cetera, et cetera. This, of course, starting with goalkeeper, Javier Otero, he potentially could be the number one, or potentially we're going to go find the number one. But last season we had 3 goalkeepers. So this season we have 1 goalkeeper. So I'm expecting at least a goalkeeper, probably 2, to come in, unless there's going to be 1 promoted from the academy into OCB. But we need something. So, breaking news from Luis. We interrupt this segment to bring you breaking news.
We got some breaking news, guys, about the goalkeeping corps for Orlando City. Per sources, Orlando is going young in the goalkeeping corps. This whole shebang about Coronel, you guys put it in your pipe and you guys shall smoke it. But more than likely ain't happening. I'll be very surprised if it does. Again, it's ever changing. They're going to be looking to get, more than likely, promote from within. They're really looking for Javier to work with the current goalkeeping coach for Orlando City, El Profe Baena, to mentor him so he can be the number one for Venezuela, in the qualifiers, which is what he really wanted. They're looking for a young They're looking for young, promote from within keeper and possibly draft. Another maybe draft keeper. But Otero, his job as the number one, more than likely, it's very close to stay that way. So I think saying goodbye to Pedro to get Otero, that's the way kind of Orlando's going for. Even though I know people said, "Hey, Coronel, he's a great guy. We should bring him up." I don't think the club is interested right now into bringing anybody of that caliber yet. Now, the young backup, that's more for certain coming from the OCB. I know that they drafted a keeper that was the second goalkeeper for OCB. Since Mercado is no longer there, more than likely he's also going to be part of the goalkeeping corps, and OCB will get a new goalkeeper, more than likely coming from the academy. So it's all going to be more of like they're going to boost other positions with that money that they're saving out of Pedro Galese, and they have full faith on what Javier Otero can do as the one of Orlando City. So
I think it's the smart play. I think he can step it up, and I think if he
me too. I
doesn't,
agree.
then mid-season you go find yourself a European goalkeeper that's retiring or something, right? Or like I put here, I think we should go out and get like an MLS goalkeeping veteran who's cheap, like somebody who's like a good backup, and then promote maybe somebody who's going to be an OCB guy who's like the third goalkeeper on the roster, just to have some safety behind Javier, or like I said, in the summer if we have to go find a goalkeeper. But let's see what he can do, man. If he steps up and he performs like other goalkeepers in this league have done, we've seen it is possible in MLS to be, a young goalkeeper and be able to be good enough, to be a first team goalkeeper as well. So let's see for Javier. Maybe he can make that step up. Talking about right back, Alex Freeman is, for all intents and purposes, still here for another year, right? They extended his, well, they triggered his, extension, as it were. Regardless whether he's going out the door this window, hopefully not. Hopefully he's here to the summer, so he would be the starting right back if that is the case. If he does go, I imagine Dagger Down is just gonna step back into being the starting right back. Maybe we'll go right back shopping. But I also put Taifi down because I feel like he's going to play more of a role as that other right back option. Kyle Smith, again, is an option there as well. So right back, I feel pretty confident that we're good.
Yeah, look, if Alex is going to stay, I don't know if he's going to stay for long. I think I feel very confident with the right. Like you said, I still would like to. I think you're missing your boy Marin right here on the left. So Adrian Marin is going to be part of the team next season. I don't know, people are not really very excited.
Is he going to be the starter? I feel like he probably is.
I really hope that he's able to have the caliber to be a starter in the MLS. I think he did impress a lot of people this last season. So I will still look for a top left back, right back. Somebody could play both flanks, in my opinion. Or I would look for if Robin Jensen is not going to renew, I'm looking for a new center back that could play also left back, somebody that could play two positions. We really don't know yet if Robin is going to resign or not. We really don't know yet. I hope that, based, they're willing to make ball moves. I think Brecalo is going to be playing as a center back. Maybe getting a top prospect as on the center back position. People say Walker Zimmerman or any other good MLS center back that can complement Brecalo or Schlegel. I think Schlegel had a good season this year. I think we need a new center back, in my opinion. And yeah, on
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if it's still Jansen, if he's still here, we don't know actually on that one. That is a question mark on him, and also Kyle Smith. If
we cannot have
if
him.
they sign new deals, I know we're in negotiations, but it isn't 100% yet. So if that happens, we definitely need a new center back. Adrian Marin, starting left back, I don't love, but I'm hoping with a real preseason, he will actually be much better and can step up to the level of MLS and what's required. I feel like left backup Tahiri Brown, I would like to see him get some real minutes in MLS this next season. I think he's probably good enough to get some minutes. Not a lot, but some. But then arguably we still kind of need another left back. And a center back. Like we've seen Thomas Williams, he's on this roster, but he doesn't ever play.
Yep.
Kyle Smith gets played there instead of him. So like we've actually only got 3 center backs that Oscar will use. Devin Breclow was used as a left back the whole season. So we ended up with really 2 center backs and no depth behind them. So yeah, I think a backup center back. I think Rodri, I love him, but I think it's better for him to be a rotation guy than the starting guy. Center back is definitely a question mark. It's definitely a need, and maybe left back as well. So defense needs some work, needs some
Yeah,
new
for
blood
sure.
for sure.
We
Defensive
need a.
mid.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
No, you go
Finish.
ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, so we need, and I know this is tough. There's not a lot of options. We need a left back that could play both flanks. That's one option.
A left-footed
Right.
left-footed center
Left
back would be nice because
now,
that's like natural, and we don't
yeah,
really have
that
that.
too. A left-footed center back that could also play left, kind of like Collins when he used to play in
Yeah, I feel
NYCFC.
like Adrian Bernard might make a better center back than left back. I don't know how good he has played center back in the past, so maybe if he's not like physically up to the speed of MLS, that maybe he would be better.
Right,
Kind of like a Kylie Nadiner situation.
right.
Turn him into a center back, and he's suddenly really good.
I am confident if Jansen remains and Kyle Smith remains, and Brecalo could play left back and center back, we need, in my opinion, two more defenders, because I feel confident to have a starting new center back and Robin Jansen taking more of like a secondary role, and then as your third stringer will be Kyle Smith, kind of plug along anywhere in the back line. And then you have Adrian Marin. If he doesn't pan out, you put him down on the totem pole. You can even put him as a third. You could put Tahiri Brown higher, and then you find another Brecalo, somebody that could play 2 positions. That and Orlando's going to have to put up more money then at that point. So a new center back, maybe a new left back that can compete with Marin. I think that probably is the best, because then
I think that'd be
Pareja,
safer to have competition for Marin instead of just
right,
relying on him for sure.
100%. I really don't want to rely on Marin, neither rely on another season of Robin Jensen, with all the respect. And yes, we can use Brecalo on the left, but Brecalo is a center back. Also, you don't want to put all your eggs in Rodri's basket either sometimes, so we cannot go through this again another season. So you need to boost it with a new center back and a new left back that could play center back and left back roles. So I think we'll win at that point. There'll be more options.
All right, let's talk defensive mid. What are you thinking?
So obviously Luis Otávio is going to be a big thing, right? Atuesta was picked up, so Atuesta is going to be staying. Jordan Gervais, he's probably going to be back. I don't know if he's going to make the preseason, but he's definitely going to be part of the team. Wilder's back, and Colin Gusky, but we haven't seen a lot of Colin Gusky. Personally, even though I would like to get another kind of like not a D mid, but like another midfielder, somebody that can also maybe be more like the role that Nico Lodero was doing at the end of his stint with Orlando. You know, kind of helping out Wilder, because in the event that Joran, it's not the same after the, you know what I mean, the injury. And also, I personally believe that Colin Gusky is a huge prospect. We just haven't seen him a lot. I hope that the Tahiri Browns, like you said, Thomas Williams, the Colin Guskys get minutes, because otherwise, what's the point? You know what I mean? I just, so a new midfielder. I don't know if defensive, but I think somebody that can, be more of like a 5.
Yeah, I can see that. I think on Colin Gusky, I think he's got a lot of good technical attributes. I think he's just like physically, he's looks like he needs to bulk up a little bit and go through, maybe a bit of a growth spurt. Like I know he's what, like 20, or no, he's not even, he's like 18 or 19, right? Like some guys, it might come later that, maybe he just goes to hit the gym and really start to work on building out some muscle. Because I think he just is a bit lightweight in this league. I think being a defensive midfielder of that size, it can be quite difficult and quite rough. So maybe I'd like to see him, kind of develop some of those other attributes so that he can, be able to impose himself a bit more on the game. And let's see him get some more minutes. I feel like he's got a high ceiling, though. I think that he's definitely one I want to see more minutes from in MLS in the future. Jerron Bay, such a shame, man. I really hoped he was going to be a big part of this season. We'll see how much he can play, but we know that coming back from injury like that in a season is always difficult. Like we saw with Duncan, it delays the start of your season, and then you're not quite up to fitness because you didn't have preseason, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think we can rely a huge amount on Giron. I think Wilder and Luis Otávio sounds like a great starting D-mid situation. I think Atuesta as a bench, change the game kind of sub. I like the idea of that. I don't want to rely heavily on Atuesta, especially if we're going to be playing the way Oscar likes. And we've seen in the past, if we have two really strong defensive midfielders, it makes our defensive, makeup much stronger, and we're able to kind of ride out games and protect our back line. And when Atuesta is there, it just wasn't the same this year. So I think he's better as that guy to come off the bench and change the game and push up and be more of that box-to-box mid. So, yeah, I think another D mid. Maybe they promote someone from the academy as well. Maybe they go out and find a MLS guy to put in there. Like in the past, we've had like a Felipe or another guy, like a veteran. Maybe Kyle Smith moves into just being that backup defensive mid option. Maybe they bring him back for that. I don't know, but we'll see. I think one more cover there would be nice.
On the right, you have Marco Pasalic is definitely staying. Nico Rodriguez, and I will switch Caraballo to below Pasalic. So I would like to see this right here. Or you leave the spot of Caraballo open, and Caraballo will go to the 10 right with Martinez. And then you get a winger that's able to kind of play the wing back role just in case Freeman has to go. Some MLS ready player. And here you're going to put Spicer. You're missing Spicer. Right? You can put Spicer first, then Angulo, and then Utaro. You forgot the Spice, man. He has fans in Orlando. There you go.
I was updating this before we podcast from last season, and I hadn't quite got to the forwards yet. I forgot about old Tyrese. Yeah, he's going to be number 1, I think. Angulo behind him.
Yeah, I like the left of Orlando. I like Spicer. Angulo and Sukata kind of fighting it out like it
I'm
should have
not
been.
sure Caraballo is a 10. Maybe he is. I haven't watched him where he plays for the U17s for Venezuela. Maybe he could play the 10.
Yeah, I believe he could play the 10. I mean, I know he
Justin
could
Ellis
play.
is also an option to be moved
He could play.
there.
I mean, he's a right winger. I mean, he's a right winger. That's his main position, but he could play the 10. But I mean, again, if you look at the right, those are the options, right? The based on his position, he's a right winger. So it'll be Marco. I personally would like to see Gustavo Caraballo over Nico Rodriguez. I just think even as a marketing perspective, he's a Venezuelan national. He's super young. He's shown what he can do in the U.S. Open Cup if you give him, time to grow with the team. And Nicolas Rodriguez, he's still adapting. So right now, it's to me, Marco is a starter for sure, and then Gustavo and Nico are gonna fight it out. I think
Yeah.
that's what I would do.
I honestly think this is left wing and right wing. We look really good because you've
Yeah,
got a starting guy in Tyrese on the right, I mean, on the left, and you've got a starting guy in Marco on the left. And then you've got someone to compete in, Yvonne, who could really come on either side. It wouldn't really matter if
right.
you need him to
Mhm.
come off the bench, or be a starter in either of those sides. Then you've got, Nico Rodriguez and Yutaro and Caraballo who are trying to push and, get minutes and be hungry and be those young backup options. So I think wings were fine. I would like to see Justin Ellis sign a contract and be an option in the number 10 Martino Hayter role because I think, that's what he was doing for OCB. I think he has all the skills to be able to do the same things that Martino Hayter does, in the first team if he wants to go that way or potentially in the 9. But he's a guy that just makes sense for me to get him on that homegrown contract and, move him up into the first team this year. I don't know why that hasn't happened. There's really not a lot of clarity around why he's not signed that contract yet. Whether there's, he wants to leave or what, I don't know. But I really feel like we should get him that next, homegrown deal and get him moved up and make sure that we kind of give him some minutes and let him compete, whether that's, in the number 10 or in the striker.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think on that number 10, um, I think signing Justin Ellis to the first team, it's good for the national team. I think it's also makes sense because he's an American prospect with a lot of upside. And again, guys, I mean, I know people are looking for the Neymars and the Heung-min Songs and the Lukakus and Grealish of the world. Um, we are kind of more in like the Philly type of way we sign players, more Columbus, Cincy type of style. We really don't go. We're not a flashy market to get that. Now I think Justin Ellis will be phenomenal. I like that. I will second that, and I really honestly don't know why he's not has. He's in Europe right now playing that under 17 tournament. I think that the US won
Yeah.
U19s, but I don't know why he hasn't signed yet. Hopefully, he's not going to be poached for another team, but he's a phenomenal talent. I think
He'd
he
be
could do it as a
protected under
nine.
our, list of protected players. I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
Yeah,
So I
so
don't think an MLS team can poach him, but I don't know what's going on, why he
I would
hasn't signed the
rather
first team contract.
right. I would rather sign Justin Ellis than sign somebody that just got
Yeah.
cut from Seattle
I mean,
Sounders or something like
look, we've moved on from like Shaq Mohammed and Fabian Loyola, so maybe there wasn't that supplemental room
that.
for
Yeah,
him, and now there is. That we're going to see. Okay, the likes of Gusky, Taifi, Justin Ellis, Satar Sakata, Caraballo, Tahiri Brown, Thomas Williams, hopefully pushing more and more to get into the team and be contributing to the first team and be those, backup options that can actually do stuff. I would like to also go out and get another center attacking mid. If we think about in recent years, we've had Nico Ladero, who came in and kind of did that role as like another option to come off the
right.
bench. If Martino Hayter gets injured, There's no one else in the
We're
team
screwed.
that can do that role at all. So we kind of need somebody to be able to play that position. Maybe Marco Pasalic could do it. I reckon if you put him there in a pinch, he would probably be able to do it. I think. Luis Muriel can play there, but anyway. And then on the strikers, speaking of Luis Muriel, if he does go, if they manage to sell him or they buy him out, then we're definitely looking at a new DP striker. If he remains here, we still need to go buy a striker, I think. Whether then that can either just play anyway as the first team guy over Luis Muriel, or at least compete and, push against Duncan and Muriel to be kind of like Enrique was, and another option in that striker core. But we can't go into the season with just Muriel and Duncan and expect to really score a lot more goals. Duncan could have a better season. I have very little faith in Muriel having a better season.
Breaking news, guys. about the striking core. There you go. So,
is this the news I want to hear?
Yeah, probably. Per sources. All right. The club is looking to renegotiate Luis Muriel's contract. In the sense of getting a hefty cut.
Pay him less.
Now, so far it looks like they're talking right now, from my understanding. It's not for real yet. It's not tangible yet. They're talking right now. Luis is keen to listen. They're saying, hey, your production, they're bringing the production, and they're shooting for a way.
You want to look at ROI? Should we show him some stats on how much he cost us and how little we got back?
So it's literally to kind of lower that amount significantly, and to work it out. And so they're looking for a way to work it out. There is going to be another number 9 coming up. They're going to be looking into some players to come in. So Luis, Muriel, and Duncan are going to fight out who's going to be the second striker. From my understanding, I think Duncan should be the second striker, but I mean, we definitely need a new striker. Now, is that going to be Richarlison that just scored like what was it called, like a like a golazo last weekend, even though Tottenham got clobbered?
Yeah. I mean, we on Muriel, you are able to like renegotiate to buy players' contracts down to get them out of, like, it's possible to be, I don't want to have this player's contract cost as much and hit the salary, books as this much. If we can get them down so they're no longer a DP, then, but that does cost a certain amount of money. It's almost like you're going to buy him out because you're buying off parts of his contract so that he doesn't have to have that much on the books next year. So that's what I'm talking about. It's the same thing. And if they do that, that works too. Whatever enables us to actually go out and buy a new DP striker to complete this team works. I don't care if Muriel's here for another year. If he's not the guy that is being paid $4 million, if he's a sub option to come off the bench, like if he's the Nico Ladero, right, of 2026, where he's just there, he can play the 10, he can play the striker, comes off the bench and can do something, then I think that's great.
I think where the club is going, based on the sources I've spoken to, the club doesn't want to be irrational on their making their decision, because they're like this. Okay, so maybe I can move this player, lower his what he's costing us, so we can pay it with our allocation money, right? Leaves a slot open, right? And I still treat him good, because what if he explodes this next season? Like
Yeah.
what are the odds? Because I guess soccer is very it changes. It fluctuates. It's never like a straight answer, or neither it's ever a straight numbers that add up. Soccer is super weird. What if Muriel starts the season hot, 5 out of 5 the first 5 games, three assists in the first 5 games of Orlando City, 5 goals. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, they're gonna be keen to probably renew him for one more year. I don't know. So they want to leave the window of opportunities open in the event that occurs, and also in the event that he doesn't work, he'll just go down the totem pole, and essentially he'll be a third string striker. And it sucks, but it is the way it is. They are aware of the concerns of the fans that Muriel has not produced, and it's been a bust, essentially. They know that they overpay for him. They know that Oscar has done many things to motivate this guy to be fit, to play, to score, and it just seems that he's taking the MLS as if this was like a children's playground. That he's bigger than the MLS, and I don't think that even Messi sees us that way. It just seems like he just came here to go and check out the new McRib. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it sounds a little extreme what I'm saying, but
No, I mean, look,
they're working on negotiating with Muriel, even though he could say no. But from my understanding, Muriel is heading that way too, because he's also understanding that maybe that time, kind of like John Cena, the time is up. You know what I mean? So go ahead, John. Sorry.
um, I want to say in a second we should read a few comments on this, but I agree that I think that if you're gonna like buy him down so that he's no longer a DP, right? So that his contract isn't over the max salary and therefore he's not classified as a DP, you're basically you're having to pay so much of his contract that you might as well do that, and then try and sell him at the same time and at least get him off the books completely. And if we're gonna say, okay, some other team, right? I mean, at the moment, to give you an example, I was looking up to see, how much he's on. He's on, 4 million guaranteed. His base salary is like 2.5 million, but he's on 4 million guaranteed, which is, a base gross per week of 48,000 per week. So you're paying 48,000 per week for Luis Muriel. You're paying 18,000 per week for Martin Ojeda. Marco Pasalic, 30,000 a week. So, he's in the middle there. Coming from Europe, I kind of expect that from Marco. I think that's more like kind of where his wages would expect it to be. Luis Muriel is being grossly overpaid for what his actual production is. But of course, he only has 1 year left on that contract. Before it was like 12 million at the beginning of the contract. Now it's actually down to the 4 million sum. If they can say, okay, we're going to give you the 2.5, base pay, and we're not going to give you the other 1.5 million, and he takes that and then signs for a team, great. Like that solves the problem too. I think if the Wilfs and the owner, and like we don't want to lose money on this, if Ricardo doesn't want to lose money on this or whatever, then go make money somewhere else, right? Like let's sell Alex Freeman for a decent amount of money this window, take that money, use it to buy out Luis Muriel, get him off the books, whatever we got to do
Yeah,
to
to get
open
him
up
on the
that
books.
space, because there's no point in having him as our DP striker next year.
Yeah, we and the signings, from my understanding, per sources too, that they're not looking for Neymar or Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, that he talked to the president. They're looking at Ty Baribos, Sam Surridges, Evanders of the world.
Yeah.
They're not really looking at Like, you know.
Yeah. On the depth chart, like we talked about all of this total, if we went out and got all these players, I don't think we're going to get all of them, but if we say we did based on what we think we need, that's 9 new players, or some of them might be promoted players from OCB. But that's, I think we're looking at somewhere between 6 to 9 new players is kind of like what we need
That's
over
great.
this offseason. So we are going to see a fair amount of new blood because, maybe that amount of depth is not what we would like, but we
Well,
definitely need some new positions. So I would be surprised if we don't get, a minimum of like sort of 5 or 6 signings over this window.
also the coach this season, at least, he was very stuck into playing the same players all the time. Yes, he didn't have a lot of depth, but also there were times in which you had to play the Guskies, you had to play the Gervais, and Gervais work, for example. So we need to see that more. Yes, we may promote, let's say, 3 OCB players to first team deals, and then get like 4 new signings. But I mean, we need depth. That's what we didn't have last year. Last year, poor Kyle Smith was playing like every single position in the books. Rodrigo Schlegel, I'm sure his muscle gain on his legs, he gained so much muscle. The dude was like, got so many minutes, and we just cannot go through all of that again. I think we need to be a little bit smarter. And I think when you give a coach a lot of options, it kind of gives them a peace of mind that he needs to line up on some games depending on the opponent, players like Caraballo that they've shown that they can step up and be influential. Players like Nico Rodriguez, like Tyrese Spicer. So it says, let's do some comments here. Donnie Moore, looking like a playing game type roster at best at the moment. There you go. Thank you, Donnie. I think it's a transition. Is a transition for team passing off the guard. There you go. Thank you, Anthony. Alonso says Orlando has not done a press conference at the end of the year. Yeah, they've not done end of the year press conference just yet. Yeah, you're completely right.
I don't feel like we ever do that. Do we do that?
Yeah, we do.
What do they just like wrap the year up with a press conference?
Yeah, and
I don't feel
also
like
they
I don't
announce like
remember
what they.
those.
Yeah, they do. They do. They do like, especially when like let's say for example Galeza has left and then Jansen leaves. Pretty much
Yeah,
2 co-captains. They do a press conference.
at some point you gotta say something.
Yeah, Freeman will wait for World Cup to leave, says Alonso. Probably.
I just feel like just sign a new deal and then get paid more between now and the World Cup. Like that's a win-win. I don't
Mhm.
understand why this desire to run out your contracts and leave on a free. It's not going to be a better situation for you,
Yeah, because
unless his agent's telling him go on a free and you'll get a fat payday.
yeah.
Some guys try to do that. They try to go on that free and then they take the signing bonus all for them because there's no transfer fee.
I mean, no doubt Alex is a stud, and he's probably going to be the part of the World Cup team. But again, it is a gamble you take.
Yeah.
Either.
I just think it's crazy that he won't sign. Like I don't get, like, if you're not gonna, I don't understand it. I don't understand why you wouldn't sign a new contract. We're not gonna hold you here. This is not the club that's gonna hold you here. We've never done that to a player. And I think, of course, Ricardo would have had conversations with him about finding him that move to Europe. So if you no longer are a player, then that's one thing. But I feel like I think it's an injustice to this club if Alex leaves on a free. And I will blame him because we have tried a lot to get him to sign a new contract. So if he leaves on a free, I'm not going to blame our front office. I will say I blame Alex because clearly we've been trying for like over a year to get him to sign a new contract. And if he won't
Yeah,
do
he
it,
doesn't want to.
what can we do? Like, what else can you do? So
Well, I mean, it's a matter
a real
of. I
shame. A
mean,
real shame.
in the end, the player is going to decide, what's best for him, and also the route he's going to get and the route it's going to go. He does have a really good family background, military background. So, you may want to hope that he has some sort of, thank you
Well, I mean,
words for,
we've put a
for
lot of
Orlando
time
for
and
betting on
effort and
him.
energy into a player like that, and I just feel like there's an opportunity to give back to the people that have helped you, and it's also get paid yourself. So I just think at a certain point, not signing a new contract just seems very selfish in many ways, but also
Also,
strangely. So I feel like Alex has, I think they went out and they traded for him. They went out and got him from Miami and invested a lot of time and energy into him and have always supported him. So I think to not repay that by getting, giving us a new contract so that we can get a transfer fee to him, I think is, that's where I say it kind of
yeah,
sucks.
I mean, I agree kind of the way you see it, but in the world of soccer, I've seen worst. So,
No,
I
I mean
mean,
it happens, but I just think also like it shouldn't happen. Like it's not, I don't
I
know.
mean,
I
the
don't think
club
it's
has tried absolutely everything.
Yeah, it's not like I'm asking him to run over hot coals. We're asking him to get paid more for another year, and then, he could still go on his merry way after the World Cup. I don't understand why he would think that signing a new contract here means he's going to be here forever. I don't, he's got such high potential. And if he really wants to leave, he can force a move, even if he's under contract. Players can do that, right? We're going to keep him here if he's kicking up a fuss. But just to go on a free is that for me is basically saying like I'm not interested in helping you. I'm just gonna run down my contract and go do my own thing.
Alonso says, bro, they didn't want to sign him in the beginning. They wanted to wait. And then a club came to ask for, oh, yeah. So they didn't want to sign him in the beginning. They wanted to wait for Freeman. Those were the club. And then the club, there was a Spanish club that came and asked for him to sign him. And they wanted to pay. And Orlando said no. So why does he have to sign a new deal?
Yeah, but if he's at that age and they're entitled to say no if he's under contract.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're gonna keep you here forever. He was like what, like 17? It's like,
Yeah.
okay. It's like I think also, if Alex thinks that that would have been a good move for him to go to some Spanish club at 17, sure. But I
Yeah.
think that sometimes these players see Europe and they go, "Oh yeah, this is the greatest thing ever." It's not like become good enough to go to Europe and then get the deal to go to Europe. Going to Europe to go play for Venezia and end up like Gianluca Bussia, that's there's nothing in that. So for me, I think that's not like look at the guy Granados. We sold him around that age. He's still, he's having better seasons in Belgium, but he's still not like lighting it. He's not in the Premier League. He's not lighting it up because he went to Europe at 17. So yeah, I just don't really agree on that one. I feel like players can complain, but at certain points you got to make the right choices for the club. And I also feel like we're not the kind of club to keep players here forever against their will.
Touch a slide. I hope these USA games haven't gone to his head too much. That says Frankie Cosmos. I agree. 100% selfishness in your professional life. 2 years of Alex Freeman for 100K a year was a repayment for us. Maybe that's a good observation. Very disrespectful if Alex doesn't sign. There needs to be some respect to the club. Says Touch a slide. And then Alonso says it's just business, like what happened to Galese. Says Alonso. This is Anthony. We also have to plan on the players who will be gone for the World Cup: Pasalic, Freeman, and Brecalo. And exactly, that's why we need the most depth this year. We need depth this year. Says, what does Atuesta bring to this team? Get Otávio. Well, I mean, I think Atuesta could play very good forward. I just think defending is a little bit of an Achilles heel. And I think having somebody like Otávio or having somebody like Wilder is just going to make him better. You have to understand last season, Cesar was really not an Orlando City player. He mentally was not in. Mentally, he was not part of the team. He got upset, and this is per sources also. He got upset that the club, allowed other players to leave and him not to leave, or some of his contracts got turned down, and he just didn't appreciate that. And then he just decided, hey, I'm gonna take my ball and I'm just gonna go home, watch Maury. I'm gonna watch Judge Judy. Play some Roblox. Play some Fortnite, and oh, my leg hurt. And Orlando, in the meantime, Gerbe was being a stud. So the team stood his ground, never call him. And then until Atuesta got it, until Gerbe got injured. And then Atuesta started giving up the ball everywhere. They had to call him. So Messi plays. There you go. Thank you.
He does.
I might have missed if you guys talked to the 2026 schedule. But I, for one, am thrilled with the MLS schedule gods for finally scheduling our home game versus Miami early in the season. Almost guarantees that Messi will play. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, he's definitely. Hopefully, he's gonna play. It'll be hilarious if he doesn't, though. It'll be like he'll have his whole MLS career without coming into Orlando. But with that, we're gonna segue now into you want to talk about the MLS playoffs, or you want to talk about the schedule?
I just thought for a second on that. I did think it was interesting that the MLS is basically, saying it's impossible for him not to play, right? It's sort of like, hey, try not to appear in Orlando on the second game of this calendar, right? Unless Messi's injured at the beginning of the season. If he's just some reason doesn't appear for our second game of the season, then I think it really proves that he doesn't want to come to Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, Messi can say no. I mean,
it's crazy to say no. Like before, like other times he's had excuses. I just think like the amount of excuses you can have for game week 2 aren't a lot unless you're like really injured. So I feel like there's a high chance of him coming.
Hopefully.
But if he doesn't, then it's just gonna throw, I know it's just silly talk and rumors and everything about him not coming, but it'll be proving the trend correct, right?
Yeah, I just want to see Luis Otávio stop him in his tracks.
I mean, we got some interesting, first games. We playing both the New York teams, playing Miami in our first 3 games. This is a pretty rough start to the season. I feel like it's not easy. So I have to see how we fare, but yeah, we'll talk more about that next year, of course. Let's talk about the playoffs.
Talking about New York, good thing, good for New York. They're a team that doesn't have any literally star players, right? They play really well collectively, and they completely stun Philadelphia. You want to start from that one, or you want to start with Miami? Which one do you want to do?
Whatever, man. Just anyone's thoughts on the playoffs, any of the games. I mean, I feel like Cincy, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning.
We can talk about that right now.
Oh my gosh, like someone needs, like Nashville didn't do it. Someone needs to step up and actually take the game to Inter Miami. Nashville did it with us throughout the season. Cincy have been doing it to teams throughout the season. Then it comes to the playoffs, and none of them step up. Like, where's the grit? Where's the determination? Where's getting in their face? Where's not allowing them to play the ball they want to play? And this game with Cincy was just like they just rolled over and died, man. It was like there was nobody closing down the ball, no press, no determination, no, drive to win the ball ahead of these other players. And I just feel like they let Inter Miami play their game. And yeah, of course, Messi looks like a god whenever you just let him do his thing. But where's the, playoff grit and determination that we saw from the likes of Atlanta last year against them, or like we saw from Red Bulls last year on that run where they just went through the Eastern playoff, or us last year for sure.
We owned them.
There's just, I think someone needs to come and actually really want to play Inter Miami and take it to them. And I'm thinking it's going to be Vancouver in the final at this point if anybody's going to take them down, because New York, yeah, I mean they got past Philly, but it wasn't like super convincing. And I think New York are kind of sit back and defend kind of team, not like we're going to close you down and not let you have the ball kind of team. So I think if anybody, it's going to be Vancouver that will bring that energy and that high press and that aggression. And if that's the case, I think it would end up being an MLS Cup final in Vancouver on that carpet. And maybe Messi just, can't play on carpet. I don't know. But someone's got to stop them, man, because it's going to be eye rolls. I won't be able to live with it if they win MLS Cup.
I mean, look, I know this sounds a little violent, but I mean, you when you play this type of level of games, you have to have edge. You have to have huevos, and it's 11 versus 11, and the perception is reality. The Cincy players sprinting to Messi at full time. It just says everything, in my opinion. I mean, it just seems like the whole entire team surrounded him, like if they were at the mall waiting to take a picture with Santa Claus. They were like, they were all like, "Oh, sign my jersey, please, sign my jersey." It's just like, yo, what the hell? Like, if I'm a season ticket holder from Cincinnati, I'll be pissed off. I mean, it's like, what kind of, this does not represent Skyline Chili. This does not represent Cincinnati, the Reds. This doesn't represent Cincinnati. We needed to see that edge, of how Nashville play against Orlando, like how Orlando play Miami throughout the whole regular season, with that grit and determination to go ahead and get the result, and you didn't see that from Cincinnati. And unfortunately, I'm sure the ownership has seen this, and they're gonna take bold moves. I'm sure after this, I'm sure there's gonna be a there's gonna they're gonna restructure the team, because I think they've had like what 2 or 3 good seasons back to back, Cincinnati, and I think this season coming up is gonna be the rebuild season, in my opinion. Now, um, again, it's just sad, man. You know, no
Yeah.
grit.
I
I
mean,
I
Philly,
expected more from some of the signings.
Philly again, like just kind of burning out in the playoffs, not really being that they weren't not the same as they were earlier in the season. So New York City just kind of come out of nowhere, managed to go on a run even without Martinez. They get it done. Vancouver was kind of as expected for me. I feel like I had them over LAFC just. So they're the team that I'm most excited for, and I feel like I want them to win it and Thomas Mueller lift the cup. I feel like that's an exciting story and a team that I can get behind. San Diego in their first season, very impressive. Get into the Western Conference Final, top of their table. An incredible first season, not seen since like the likes of Atlanta. They're on that kind of trajectory, so they could win it even in their first year. It could happen. Yeah, I think someone's got to stop Messi. I think it's more likely going to be in MLS Cup, and Vancouver is my hope.
Well, hopefully, I mean, I think it would be hilarious if they don't win it this year. I mean,
If they don't win
yeah.
it this year, the Miami fans will absolutely lose their, they're really like, oh, thank God it's finally coming home. We're gonna get the MLS Cup, the one that really matters, and then this season of trophies, plural, that we were supposed to get won't be so much of a failure. If they don't win it, they're gonna have a meltdown.
I really, I mean, I see a little different because, you know, I, I mean, look, if I was a player and I'm playing against Messi, I want to break him. Like, I want to actually injure him. Like, I want to go with that mentality.
I
And I
mean,
know that sounds a
honestly,
little.
like it's
I know that
flat,
sounds a
but if
little.
you
I
really
know that
want to
sounds a
win a
little
game, you
violent.
could just go in hard on Messi constantly. Like
Yeah, but that's the mentality. That's
it's
the
dirty,
mentality of
but if
South
it's one
America.
game, we've seen it happen. Like other leagues, they would just do that.
Yeah, it happens when But
Like a
personally,
World
I
Cup
lost a
game, they
lot
just
of
do that.
as a FC Barcelona fan. I lost a lot of respect of him when he left FC Barcelona. I think within the financial crisis, him being he could have stayed. Uh, I'm sure he could have spared to get paid like 5 pesos a season, just one season, wait it out, and retire there. But he decided to follow the money. Goes to PSG. He sucked there, and then boom, he goes to Inter.
Yeah.
You know,
I saw somebody talking about like the disillusion of like Messi and like all of that, like, oh, I don't like all these things and like blah blah blah. And then there was like a listener call in and the host said in reply to that, well, like I think you're just seeing it from a closer lens. Like he was like this the whole time he was in Barca, and he was like this when he was at PSG. He's kind of always been like
well,
this, but
his
from further
his last stint
away,
with Barca, he was like that.
yeah, well, I think from further away at that time he was kind of revered more, right? And it was less social media at that time, etc. And now from a closer lens, all of these fans in North America, a lot of them are coming this like the guy literally said like I'd rather go watch, like Paul Rothrock or whatever than Messi. Like there's
Yeah,
people that
he
become
just
disillusioned with him now that he's here in the league.
obviously he brings what is it called, butts in seats.
He sells tickets
No
and jerseys.
doubt, no doubt. Commercially, great signing, but for the growth of
Best
soccer in the
signing you
United
can make
States,
in the world commercially.
right? Commercially makes a lot of sense, right? But when it comes to the growth of soccer and what his legacy is in the United States, 0 to none. I think Beckham was more influential with his issues and his situations than he was. Beckham at least try to play an all-star game, try to adapt to the American culture, try to respect this crest at least, try to respect these colors, right? And try to be open, and there are stars that do that, like Nani, for example. Nani's played in almost every single big event too, played UEFA champions and things like that. Super humble guy, like he left his legacy, his mark. And I'm sure in Miami he's left his mark, obviously with all the wins and goals and stuff like that, 100%. But I'm talking about bringing him to the MLS. Have I seen the MLS grow or get any more eyes on the product? I think money wise for the league, yes, but when it comes to growth of soccer, I think teams like Philly, like Seattle, like Nashville, and even Orlando with the academies are doing more for soccer in the US than Messi. I don't know. It seems to me that that's that. I mean, it's my opinion, guys. So if you guys feel a little different, it's fine. No big deal. Salty
All right.
H2O. Salty H2O. Miami looked unstoppable that game against Cincy. It was wild. Cincy didn't even show up. He's
Yeah,
kind of the Santa Claus of soccer, to be honest, is Danny Moore. Danny Moore is a fan of Messi. For sure, 100%. Good for
that's
you, my
fair.
friend.
That's okay, bro.
That's fair.
We won't
Game is
hold
in
it
Fort
against you.
Lauderdale, too. There you go, Donnie. Appreciate you.
All right. I feel like that's everything we got to talk about today. We're gonna wrap it up here because we're gonna get ready for the Pride Pod in a minute. Luis, you want to run us through the socials?
Yeah, sure. We want to appreciate everything you guys do for us. Definitely, the podcast is growing tremendously, episode by episode. Right now, 1,711 subs, 1,711 subs, and counting. Over 35 new subs just in this month. So thank you for your support.
Yeah, but I know a
We're
lot of
available
people who
on
watch
X.
the video aren't subbed. So if you are watching this video and you're not subbed,
Yeah,
what are you doing? Go ahead, subscribe.
yeah, 100%. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, LP_podcast, Loud and Proud Orlando. We're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you tune in, listen to us, drop us your comments. Thank you to everybody that watch. Also, want to thank the U.S. Soccer because to Paola, to everybody there, the U.S. Soccer, they treat me very well there at the Raymond James. The U.S. Women's National Team is going to be playing against Italy next week on Black Friday. They're going to be playing, so we're going to be covering that over almost 3.5, 3,000 views on the Alex Freeman footage, and also the Pochettino interview, which was hilarious. I would highly recommend you guys go watch that. Anyways, this is Loud and Proud Orlando, where we'll be back next week, right, John? Or if there's any news coming up this week.
If Otávio is signed this week, we will come back live to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, we wish you also, if we don't talk to you, awesome Thanksgiving, right? So we'll see you guys, and thank you.
I have one more thing before we go.
Yeah.
I got a very special Forever Lion episode coming up soon. I'm not going to tell you who it's with, but it's with someone I think everybody's going to want to hear from. So look out for that.
There you go. Make sure you check it out. And thank you guys for your support. And again, vamos Orlando. Have a good one, guys. Take care.
Vamos Orlando. See you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.